So I already did the first oil change on that at 200 miles. So I don't really follow the traditional racing. We lost him. Oh yeah. Okay, let me get on a real line. I'm getting the two ahead of myself. I can sit back down. Switch over. Oh yeah. No need to crash a bike that's not mine. That's so fun.
Oh yeah, the KLX is much nicer than the 125. So much more like, the power feels so much more like usable and linear. I don't feel like I can just stay in second and kind of just do my own thing. The 125. Oh yeah. The 125, you really have to be a bit more cautious on what gear you're in and whatnot. This thing, you can just stay nicely in second and kind of play around with the whole rev range. It's oh yeah. It's a bigger bike, like physically, but I like it so much more.
It's crazy because this is smaller and I like this way more.
Really? I maybe it's just like what we're used to, but I like just being in second and just being able to play around the whole thing. This thing, I feel like you have to be between second and third and trying to find your spot a bit more.
This was the first time I was actually like tapping this out and it couldn't get up the hill.
Yeah, exactly. You have to play between second and third for this one.
On the steep, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, okay, this is fine. I was going like 830, but like, if you ride it right, you can tap up through third, through everything. I think that's going to be the thing. Yeah, can you carry enough speed to stay in top of third? But I'm not good enough for that shit yet. Fuck.
And you don't need to be. There's no need to.
Yeah, I'm good with second.
Yeah, this is nice. I don't really need much more performance than this. I mean, He does kind of overemphasize that lean a little bit. Yeah, I really don't need much more performance than this, especially if it's going to be primarily just kind of Nate Harrison, similar sorts of off-road, nothing too like insane. Like this is plenty of bike, and I think for a lot of people that's what the thing is, because you see online that he's on the CRF300, and the top complaint about that bike is how stiff or how loose the suspension is. But you know, for an average rider doing like these sorts of trails, like it's completely fine. Sure, you might bottom it out a little bit more than you plan on, but I mean, for 99%, or I'm not gonna say that, but I'd say about a solid 90% of people, like it's plenty for the bike. And still, if you buy the CRF Rally, I mean, that bike has a windscreen and bigger gas tank. Half the people aren't even gonna take that bike off-road, so it's just like weighing what you actually want. I don't really know where we're going now. The whole day I've just been following these guys. I was going to one of their houses to borrow this version. If you remember in the first video I did, I was on a green KLX, and he owns two. This is his white one, and he's on his WR125. As you saw earlier, he likes the smaller bike more, but me personally, I think I like, even though it's more of a substantial bike physically, I think I like the power. I like being able to kind of just chill in second like I am now, and just not really worry about it. I do find it funny, however, that the 125 has a gear indicator and a full fuel gauge. This bike does not have either of those. This bike just has a fuel warning light. Get the back loose a little. You can twist the throttle enough, I cannot see anything. There we go. That's neutral. Get the back. Oh my god. Oh yeah. See, this is plenty of bike. As you would expect from a dual sport bike, they do have quite long clutch actuations. Can stand up for this. That way I have a bit more control on the uphill. They do have super long clutch actuations, so that gives you a little bit more room to spin the rear wheel, as you probably would on an off-road bike. This is a nice climb. I like this. Let me not just completely eat shit in the slow speed. All right. That was good.
Okay, we can switch back on the way out if you want. I feel like I moved back a little more confident. You're right, It's smaller, but I feel like I can like throw it around.
Some tracks of some sort of animal. I'm not sure what's native up here. I mean, coyotes are native to the Southern California area, but I don't know if a coyote would be up here. Yeah, second gear is just a lot more comfortable for this bike. I feel like you can do kind of everything with second gear. If you're a more advanced level rider, you could probably get away with some shenanigans in third gear and, you know, trying to keep the revs up and whatnot. But I think for the majority of riders on the KLX300 here, second gear is enough power for, you know, everything you'd want doing any sort of off-road. And yeah, I feel like standing here is a little bit of a overkill, but maybe not here. Eat my own words for a little bit, just so I have a little bit more control on the front end, put a bit more weight on it. There we go. Not bad at all. The one thing I don't like about these guys is this is a two-way road, because we did come up this way, but we are not afraid to stay on the left, so he's gonna wheelie. You can see it. Oh, never mind. Yeah, see there, we're lucky that there's no one oncoming, because definitely sent that corner too fast. And this thing handles, like, even with these knobby tires, it handles pretty nicely for, I wouldn't trust it to add, 40, 50, you could probably get 40 degrees of lean angle out of it. I probably wouldn't want to do it on knobbies, but I think you could do, you could hustle around a mountain road just fine. If it's a really tight technical one, I'm sure you could keep up with most sport bikes too, if you're a good rider. I did notice above 60, 65 miles an hour the vibrations are still there, although I don't know if they're as bad as his previous KLX in the previous video that had an aftermarket handlebar. It didn't feel terrible, but I don't think it felt great either. Where are we going, bro? I didn't want to overshoot anything, and I didn't know what gear I was in, so yeah, second gear is just fine for this bike, no complaints. Technical stuff, spin the rear wheel a little bit to get the rotation, a little bit of gas in the second gear, stand up, jump. Take it slow because this bike does not have a skid plate. I don't know what that was. Looked like a bunch of animal turd. He's right behind me. Alright, I decided to go down this trail that we haven't seen before. I'm gonna go super slow, not to like lose them, but I don't want to accidentally rear end them because the visibility is quite low. The one thing about the bike I'm on, there's no hand guards. Them two do have hand guards, so this is what I would classify as single track. I can feel my rear tire just not aligned. Going down. Pulling the clutch, landing on the front brake. Oh, this is sketchy. Oh my god. Oh yeah. Seize the gap! Seize the gap! Something in my wallet is poking me.
Wow, it is impossible to see around this bush.
You're good, you're good.